Kia ora koutou. It's my honour to chair the meeting today because Chair Peter is in Wellington on official business. So welcome everybody, particularly Chair Peter Tipene and Councillor Joe Carr. So we've got a full house, and welcome to the staff. We'll like to start with the karakia. Arama, are you able to do the honour? Thank you.
Noi tātou, tēnei au, tēnei mātou, he kai kaunihera, he kauenga i ngā whakataunga, i ngā tikanga ki ota ki pai. Kia reo ainga iwi katoa o te taitukerau. Haumi e, hui e.
I don't think I need to do the housekeeping. Everybody here is staff, I believe. Yes. Okay. Apologies. Here. No apologies. Right, next item, 5.1, confirmation. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Item 4. Yeah, we have a supplementary additional item, confidential item to be dealt with at the end of this meeting. Can somebody move that we receive that confidential item? Councillor McDonald, secondly Councillor Hunt. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carry. Okay. Item 5. Confirmation of minutes. Is someone who was there, who was in attendance, like to move that those minutes are a true and correct record?
Also move Kitchen.
Kitchen, seconded. Crawford. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Contrary? Carried. Thank you. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to raise. There was actually a typo in there. Talked about Councillor Aram instead of Councillor Moranga. So subject to that correction. There it is. Te Rurangi Working Party on page 14. So subject to that correction be made, please. Thank you. Item, that's 5.1. We don't have to move the second lot of minutes as well, do we?
No, that's no.
It's all included, both of them, because there's 2 lots of minutes there. Okay, item 5.2, receipt of action sheet. Someone like to move? Councillor McDonald, seconded.
Happy to second it.
Councillor Blackwell. Any discussion? I'd like to congratulate the staff on completing all of them. Are the councillors happy with the explanations? Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. Thank you. Right. Item 6.1, financial report. Somebody like to move receipt of the report?
Move.
Councillor Carr, I'll second that. Right. Discussion on the financial report. It's open. Must be very happy with the report.
Kia ora, Chair, just wondering if you'd like Simon or Tucker to give Councillor a quick summary of the report, noting that it was discussed at the Audit and Risk Committee meeting yesterday in detail.
Yes, we did. This is the report that went to the Audit and Risk Committee yesterday. Pretty good, robust discussion yesterday. But in a high-level summary, we have a variance of 1.2 million at this stage of the year, January 2026. So what that means is that we had a budget net cost of 2.7 and our actual net cost is 1.5. So we're 1.2 different there. And $1 million of that is driven from salary savings. So there's another 200K across the organisation of miscellaneous variances. And as I pointed out yesterday, not a red flag, but the messaging is February month, March month, April month, we got to spend to budget, we got to fulfil obligations so that we don't roll into May, June, the later stages of the financial year with big variances, trying to chase budget, signing contracts late, and then we roll in with OPEX, OPEX carry forwards. So we're looking at the next 3 months to hit target and stay away from OPEX carry forwards at the end of the year. Other than that, the only thing I pointed out, or I'd like to point out, is the rates revenue figure. The first line on table 1, just that rates revenue figure there, that represents the rate strike and the invoices that we send out, the rate assessments we send out to the community. It doesn't reflect the cash, right? And so the cash is a separate report that I bring, and I will bring it in March. where the council, each district council gives us metrics on what they're collecting, and it's not good at the end of December. It's behind where we were last year, and if I model that trend out at the end of the year, potentially, if it continues the way we're looking, the provision for uncollectability will be $400,000 over budget. So it could be a $400,000 hit to the bottom line if we continue the way we are. An action arising from yesterday's meeting when I presented that was we're going to ask, I've invited the rates collection officer from Whangarei to come into the March meeting and just give some insights, her observations of what's happening in the community, what they're experiencing. Is there any shift in the socioeconomic groups that are struggling? What levers are they pulling? And what else can they do? And does she see it getting better by the end of the financial year? So that invite has been accepted, and Alison Puchot will attend the March meeting to talk to council. That was the high levels takeaways. If you want to dive into some detail, please, we're happy to take questions.
Yeah. Jeff?
I just got a couple on the floor here. Lower than budgeted bus fares of 101,000. What are we doing about that? How do we cover that? Loss of income.
Yes, sir.
Under grants and subsidies, page 26. And while you're thinking about the other one, Don, is cost matching of 113,000 for predator free. What's the issue around that? What do you call cost matching?
Through you, Mr. Chair. We match the funding coming from PF 2050 Limited with our council funding as we go through the year. And the aim is to spend out in our rateable funding while trying to preserve as much of that allocated PF 2050 funding for future works.
Okay, so is that like lower? Are we covering the 713,000? I don't quite understand that. Who covers that? Is it nearly $750,000?
Yes.
Are we subsidising that, or have we had the money up front?
No, we have the money allocated from PF 2050.
Yeah.
It's held in revenue and reserves.
Yes.
And then that's brought in to match our expenditure.
Okay, so that's what lower than budgeted subsidies. So do we have to go back to them for more money?
No, we've got all that allocation.
Okay.
But we are seeking additional funding, to future-proof the PF 2050 work. We're not seeking any additional funding, ratepayer funding for that.
Okay.
We're seeking external funding.
Okay. And just the other one.
Louisa, can you answer that?
So that's actually a phasing issue. It's we're actually meeting what our bus fare budget is. If you remember, we increased the bus fares last year, and we sent you through a report at the end of last year on the impact on passenger services, which was negligible. On the number of passengers, which was negligible, and we've just had a report back from NZTA saying we're meeting our targets as well for bus service revenue in accordance with the percentage that they were asking for. So that's actually just a phasing thing.
Okay, so it's just a timing
of
issue.
income. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a red flag or anything.
My only comment I have on the thing is the pleasing 17% increase in the rental income from council commercial investment properties. I thought that's a pleasant surprise. I expected us to be poorer than that. But anyway, any other questions? Tucker, anything you'd like to add? Amy, question.
Thank you. Just environmental services, the Hill Country Erosion Program, and just the lower operational expenditure. Just wondering if that is also a phasing type issue, or is it to do with uptake of our landowners?
Could Amy, through you, Chair, it's definitely not an issue with uptake. So that program's fully subscribed. It's really difficult for us to estimate ahead of time when the grant funding will actually be allocated.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. Thanks to the staff, a comprehensive report. Okay, item 7.1, approval of updated procurement policy. Now, we have workshopped this. I'll just ask for someone to move and second it. To start, Jeff, Councillor Crawford to move, seconded Councillor Morongo. Any discussion?
Yes.
Jeff?
I'll just bring it up. I would like some wording removed. I did actually bring it up at the meeting and it was sort of pushed over the top. I'm just trying to find the on it. Okay, so the wording is that
What page?
33,
item 3, is it?
page 33.
Okay, so the wording is that in on page 33, the number 8, promotion of northern businesses. Okay, I'd like the word Maori and Pacifica removed. Okay, council will identify opportunities for local businesses to participate in the council procurement process, engaging with Maori and Pacifica and northern businesses. Now, I've been a large northern business employer, employ majority of Maori in our businesses, and I see that as a bit offensive, is that they would have that wording as a racist reference in supporting northern businesses. And I would like it removed. I struggled to vote for that. And for an example, 98% of 100 people that are employed were Maori, but I wouldn't qualify looking for business opportunities through NRC because I would be, I feel like I'd be put backwards that another contractor would have an opportunity if they're Maori Pacifica. I don't even see why the wording's in there.
First, just as a process matter, you move the
Yes,
adoption. So you want to withdraw your moving of the, because what you're asking for is a amendment.
Amendment. Yep, I would like to, well, I've moved it so I can talk to it.
Okay, so you'll vote against it?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on, I don't know.
Yeah, I think what this isn't is a social procurement document. It isn't a social procurement document. And so what this does is it provides an ability to close the gap and provide an equitable opportunity for Māori and Pacifica peoples to gain access into the procurement process. So I would vote to keep the language.
Yep. Councillor Carr. You're on mute, Joe.
Thank you, Chair. This is a pretty important document, and these documents can lead to litigation. And litigation that comes right down as a comma and the full stop in the right place at times. And you've got to be pretty careful. For instance, too, what is procurement practice reflecting council's commitment to the Treaty Waitangi mean when you're procuring? And then the 10% waiting for local procurement. What's local? So does local mean Northland, or does local mean where the activity is actually happening? I.e., if something's happening at Opua, does an Opua contractor get in front of one from Kaikoai? You know, it's when you start having criterion like this, especially when you've got a 10% weighting, which means the ratepayer might have to pay 10% more, I think you've got to be pretty careful. So I sort of support Jeff's concerns there. And yes, I think that if you've got when you've got exceptions, the staff not accepting the best scoring supplier, process must include 1, informing the chair of audit and risk and be included in the next audit and risk agenda. It doesn't matter whether it's 20,000 or 50,000, because when you're actually buying services and paying more for them, you've got to be really rigorous and make sure you're not subject to challenge. So do I need to recap the points I've made?
No, that's fine. Thanks, Joe. You've covered a bit.
I'd want those points changed.
Okay, Amy.
Thank you. I think I've just got a question of clarification, really, because I'm hearing what you're saying, Jeff, but I'm looking at the whole sentence, and from my perspective, the listing of Māori and Pacifica, and then it goes on to list and Northland businesses and social enterprises. I'm not sure it excludes anybody, and when I read that sentence, I don't see anything there that prioritises Māori and Pacifica businesses necessarily. So I guess I'm not sure that I agree that the statement in the policy is as extreme as what you're describing in terms of its impact.
But why have the reference when we should be promoting Northland businesses? Now, Northland businesses encompasses everyone. Right? Doesn't matter who is the owner or who is the worker. Why have it separate? Why even have that reference point in there? I can't see what it adds. We should be supporting Northland businesses.
Thank you, Jeff. Peter Tipene.
Thank you, Chair. I want the words to be retained as they are. The whole sentence, as Amy refers to, is identifying opportunities, and then it goes on, and then it says engaging with Māori Pacifica, which are the words that Councillor Crawford are referring to. What we all know is that if we are focusing on Northland, we really need to understand Northland. We know that the Māori economy is the handbrake, one of the main handbrakes on the prosperity that we all seek. So Councillor Morunga has emphasised that we need to have an equitable approach to encouraging, engaging, and trying to get Māori businesses into the space, while at the same time being very clear about the criteria that nobody gets any favourable dispensation, and that businesses, the best businesses, get the work. So that's not in question, but it's about the equitable application of Northland moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Tipene. Councillor Hunt.
Yeah, look, I think it's a very poorly worded clause. The Māori and Pacifica businesses are Northland businesses. They are part of the Northland community. And to Peter's point, if we have certain criteria, I want to promote Northland businesses. I mean, as we said before, GDP per capita is the lowest in Northland across New Zealand. And Peter said that the best organisations will receive the business. And I don't see anywhere where a Māori or Pacifica business is defined, and that creates significant issues logistically for the staff. And they are Northland businesses. So I'd actually get rid of that. I'd go from the first to the first comma, and I'd remove that entire reference to Northland businesses, because we're promoting Northland businesses. It's kind of, I think that description is redundant. I don't think it's necessary.
I'm just wondering what the problem is we're trying to solve here. But anyway, we'll keep going. Joe, you've got another comment?
No, I don't want to lose sight of the word local and what it means, because this is a legal document, this procurement document. Do we mean Northland? And if we mean Northland, right, Northland, not local.
I'll ask the CE to comment on that.
Kia ora, Chair. I agree with Councillor Carr. In that first line, you could put opportunities for Northland businesses.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. So we could change that without an amendment, can we? Just with agreement of everybody?
You'd need to
Move an
have
amendment.
Move an
Okay.
amendment.
Okay.
I'll move if it's convenient.
So you've got two options. If our original mover and seconder are comfortable with the change in the wording, that's fine. It's the simplest version. Otherwise, you go down the amendment route.
Okay. So would that Councillor Crawford and Councillor Moore are happy with that change? We can do that without amendment?
The change?
Take out local and replace it with the word Northland in the first line. Council will identify opportunities for Northland businesses rather like that. Okay, done.
And my thank you very much, everybody. And the other important thing is exception reporting. If staff do not accept the best scoring supplier, process must include informing the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee and including that report in the next Audit and Risk agenda.
You're talking about clause 15, aren't you? Rules, is that right?
Yeah.
What would you like changed?
I want an exception clause that in the case, and it refers to if staff are not accepting the best scoring supplier, I want added to that the process, which it talks about elevating it to other management, must also include informing the chair of Audit and Risk and including a report in the next Audit and Risk agenda, just so that exception reporting is transparent and gets to Audit and Risk.
Look, my first reaction is it sounds okay, but it could be pretty clunky if it's going to be applied a couple of hundred times a year. Maybe you'd want to.
Well, you could have a schedule. You can have a schedule, just like we have a schedule of contracts over 100,000.
Yeah.
I think you should have your exception reporting just listed, and
so you'd want a floor, wouldn't you? You'd have to only apply to.
I don't think you should have a floor.
Yeah.
I don't think you should have a floor because it's very important that you don't have infiltrating or spreading through the organisation exceptions to contracts that no one knows about. I think that's just gives gives oxygen to all this. Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Tiffany.
Myself, but I certainly support the words that are the new words that are being suggested, but it goes to underscore the part about Māori and Pacifica and us as council having a deeper discussion about how it cascades through everything we do. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get back to that, Councillor Tiffany. We're just dealing with Councillor Carr's comments on item 15. I know we've got a bit out of order.
So I'll move an amendment to incorporate that.
Got some wording?
Yeah, I've given it 2 or 3 times. Just wondered if Christine had written it down. Okay, I can do it again.
Councillor Carr, if I could help. I'm assuming you don't want any exception reporting down to like a small contracts. So my suggestion would be that you have a minimum, like for reporting to governance, a minimum threshold figure. You know, like you might go, okay, $100,000, for example, where there's a contract that's let that isn't using the best supplier's score that exceed $100,000, and the contract exceeds $100,000, that's reported to the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee and reported to subsequent Audit and Risk Committee.
Yeah, that would be good. But I think your threshold is too high, and I just go back to the workshops we've had. I think it was with Deloitte. Actually, they were discussing this, and this is going back to the previous term of council. They thought this was a risk area with councils. The exceptions.
I don't recall that.
I have no recollection of that.
It was right back at the start of the first term of last council.
Okay, so what we need to know, what we need to agree on is what is that figure? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000?
Well, I think 10,000 is a suitable figure.
It's like us to see what's the likelihood of the prevalence of that happening? How many times a year do you think this could possibly happen?
Chris, you might have a greater handle on it. Please feel free not to answer the question if you don't, and don't make something up. And if you do have a bit of a gauge.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we don't typically weight and score suppliers. below sort of $50,000 anyway. We typically get quotes and award based on suitability and price. So typically speaking, those being able to report on that for lower value contracts is not something that we don't necessarily skill those suppliers. So I would suggest that at a minimum, dollar mark would make sense. We report contracts at $100,000 anyway, so we could also just add it in at that level.
Oh, okay. Yep. Councillor Kitchen.
Yeah, that 10,000 doesn't thing with me. We've got to have confidence in our staff, our CEO and our staff, and every, to us, 10,000 pretty cash, as far as I'm concerned. And God, we're looking over their shoulders. Give them a bit of
Thank you.
responsibility.
We're getting the steer for 50,000. Joe, you happy with that?
That's a significant improvement, not at all. So thank you.
Do we have a wording?
Yeah, read it several times. Exception reporting. The staff are not accepting the best scoring supplier. Process must, for purchases greater than $50,000, the process must include 1, informing the chair of audit and risk, so they can just speak to them. 2, including the summary report in the next audit and risk agenda, and that might be just one line.
Amy.
I'm comfortable with the principle here. I don't think we should be adding governance to the process of sign-off, though. I'm much happier that we have a schedule that comes to audit and risk periodically, which can be monitored, but I think it's extremely clunky and onerous for us to include governance in the decision making. So I'm happy with what you're proposing nearly, Joe, but I'd be
reporting.
saying, yeah,
It's reporting, not decision making. There's no way I said it's purely a reporting matter.
Yep,
we're
thanks,
not making decisions. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. So carry on, Amy. I've got something to add to that.
no, I think it would just probably be good to clarify the wording at some point through Chris, but maybe we're still formulating it.
I think I'd like to have removal of report to the chair of audit and risk. Basically, just put it in a schedule to audit and risk. I think would be adequate. Donna.
If there's a consensus on that, I'm comfortable with that.
Getting nods around the room, Joe.
Well, we'll go with that. Let's progress the meeting.
Oh, no, we need to have the wording. This is a council decision.
So my wording is so it would be part of the bullet point, Joe, that's there where it refers to that situation. It goes at the end of that bullet point where it says and sign off, full stop. In such circumstances, where the value exceeds $50,000, such variances will be reported to the next Audit and Risk Committee meeting.
Fine. Thank you very much.
So, Joe, you'd like to move an amendment?
Yeah, move that.
A seconder, please.
I'll second it.
Councillor Hunt. I'll put that amendment. All those in favour?
Aye.
I agree. Carried. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, John. We're back to the original motion. Any other matters?
Well, I first of all, I'd like to bring up, this is really what I want to define, is how do you define a Maori and Pacific business? Okay, because I'll give you an example. My son-in-law is a Maori, right? Now, if I went into business with him, do we qualify as a Maori business? So I would like some more definition around what defines a Maori business. I don't even know why the wording's in there. This is the reason I'm bringing it up.
I'm wondering what problem we're trying to solve here.
No, the problem is that we're already allocated Maori and Pacific first before Northern business. Right, the wording says that. This is the way I see it. They give preference.
A possible way through this would be after you get that first comma, I can add the word including. It means rather than not just doing it, we're including that.
But I think to Jed's point, creates huge issues for the staff if there's no definition of what a Maori or Pacifica business is, because we're actually referring to something with no definition. that creates massive logistical headaches.
I'm aware that through Northland, there's a partnership with Whāreke. They came and talked to us last term at one of the Northland board togethers. So there's definitely a framework around Māori business that Northland Inc. are working with. But I think the key point is if we can get the wording right, that it's not prioritising the opportunity, it's just recognising that potentially the way that we engage and ensure people can participate is different. So it's not really about you and only you, it's just making sure the way that we present procurement opportunities is communicated effectively to all the people we're trying to encourage. So
then we need to get the wording right,
Yeah,
because
so-
and we need to get this definition right.
Okay, Oriel,
What is the
maybe a way
definition?
forward?
Is what I'm asking of Māori Pacific business.
Clarity, the Te Whāriki Māori Professional Business Network, they do have a definition of what a Māori business is, and it is about the identification of how many Māori business owners own the business. So there is a registered definition that might provide some clarity to the discussion, Chair.
Okay, so do we need to go to that level of detail? That's what I'm concerned about. Councillor Tupeni.
I really appreciate the question, and I appreciate the clarity that we're seeking, because this is the clarity that we need if we're going to move forward together. There is a lot of literature out there about what a Māori business is. There are some very clear examples. I'm the chairman of the Ngāti Hine Forestry Trust, which is Māori owned, multiply owned land. It's clearly a Māori business, but there are less clear descriptions like the one Councillor Crawford just described. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Moranga.
Yeah, I don't see it being read as Māori Pacific businesses are getting special treatment. I think what it, in my mind, what it's attempting to do is actually provide an opportunity for them to engage.
I guess, I'm grateful for Jeff for raising this, because you could read this as saying, well, we're going to engage with Māori Pacific Northern business first. Right. So I think a way past that might be if you put after that first comment, including engaging them. And so it's basically what we're saying, we're not ignoring them. We're not ignoring Māori Pacific businesses, but we're engaging with businesses. Councillor Kitchen.
Yeah, defining a Māori business. I look at koutou now, and we have Bell's Enterprise, right? A big vegetable shop and whatever, and that was bought and owned by Te Rarawa, and Rogers Plumbing up there now owned by Te Rarawa. So they are Māori businesses. That may give some clarity on that. Thank you.
So we've got the direction from Oriel that there's a really clear definition of Māori businesses in Northland already through the, what's it called, Whāreke? Whāreke, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just trying to, because I think we're not actually that far apart on that.
Yeah.
So would it bring you more comfort if we put Northland businesses as the first reference?
Yep.
Social, so Northland businesses, Northland, Māori and Pacifica businesses and social enterprises. Because for me, they're all there in a list all at the same level, but I guess what I'm hearing from you is you feel like because those ones come first.
Well, not really. I just want inclusiveness.
Yeah.
I don't see why we have to separate races out. Like, I would just like an inclusive policy. Doesn't matter who you are, Indian, Samoan, or Maori, or whatever. Why have we actually got it worded that way? That's what I'm trying to get to. Do we need to have this as a statement that we're promoting this first before Northland? I don't think so.
I think the most salient point is the one that Peter made, which is the best business gets the work. And if that business is Māori, fantastic. I have 100% of the local procurement could be Māori businesses if they're the best. That's the key point. Best businesses get the work.
Yeah, simple.
Councillor Tupeni.
When I made this point earlier, it wasn't the best timing because we were talking about an amendment. What I said is that at some point we need to have a deeper discussion about Te Tiriti o Waitangi and what it means for the Northland Regional Council and how it cascades through everything we do, including our policies and particular clauses such as the one we're discussing now.
Thank you. Councillor Blackwell.
Right, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'm a bit with Jeff on this, definitely, because I want the best tenders coming out or quotes. And if it's simplistic, possibly more Northland businesses will put the quote in. If the way it reads now, you might think, well, why would I bother with this one?
Okay. Chief,
Yes, please.
Clarity. If I could provide a little bit of feedback. So there's no preferential procurement for Māori and Pacifica businesses over and above Northland businesses. This here, as it is in Section 8, is about signalling making sure that we look for opportunities for Northland businesses. Some of the feedback that we've previously had is that Māori and Pacifica businesses haven't had the same opportunities, and we haven't necessarily engaged with them through the procurement processes, and they've been therefore not on the same footing as other Northland businesses to be able to engage in our procurement processes. So this isn't, when you've got Māori and Pacifica there, it's not saying that Māori and Pacifica businesses have preferential treatment over other Northland businesses. It was there intended to make sure that our staff, when we're running our procurement processes, we're casting the net wide, and that we are aware that Māori and Pacific businesses haven't always been successful in getting tenders through council, and making sure that we're engaging and they're aware of the opportunities and aware of being able to put in bids and tenders for that work. So it's around engaging with them. This is here is that between the two commas there is about engaging with them so that they are aware of the opportunity. Like some of our people that apply, or companies that apply for tenders, they know our systems really well. They often the same ones are successful each time. This is simply about making sure that some of those other Māori and Pacifica businesses who we've had feedback that they haven't been as successful, or they haven't been aware of the opportunities as much as other businesses are aware of when we're doing tender procurement, that this is an opportunity. That's what this is. It's not a list of inclusive or exclusive. We are saying that all Northland businesses are on an even footing when they're going through the process. It's more about making sure that our staff, when we're running this process, are cognizant of making sure that Māori and Pacifica businesses are on the same footing as others.
Thank you. John.
Just on from what Jono said, Blackwell Contract Fencing does a lot of quotes for jobs. They don't always get them, and particularly up in the Hokianga, we do a quote, can't name the firm, but they'll use that quote and give it to their contractor, and that's what really annoys me. So it's got to be level and even playing field. So if you get to the stage where you think, oh, they're going to give it to those people anyway, why would I bother quoting? So Blackwells don't go to Hokianga anymore, because it costs you money to do a quote and muck around with this stuff. We know the jobs that you rigged. So we don't want to give that sort of feeling to this contract. And that's why I'm saying I want the best quote, best tenders coming out of Northland, including everybody.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a good point, John, but I think that really, it's about appropriateness of the process rather than the actual the promotion aspect here.
But they won't get any more quotes up in Hokianga. No, that's a problem.
Obviously,
this could happen here.
Obviously, a biased process. Councillor Carr, I want to draw this to a close, by the way. Briefly, please.
Yeah, well, I didn't have my hand up for another comment, but I think you've got to be very careful, as I said at the start of this. This is a procurement policy, and it could go legal, could be challenged, and it'll spin on words you choose, and big money can be involved, and it can slow things right down. So putting a whole lot of questionable stuff in it is puts the council at risk, and
Okay.
I would have had a procurement expert look at this. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Look, is there any appetite for adding the word including before engaging to get us past this point? If there's no appetite for it, then I'll just put the yes, no. Is there any appetite for adding including as a way of breaking the impasse on this?
I think that helps, but I do think the clause is poorly written. That was my comment.
Okay, so I'm prepared to move that as an amendment. If anyone wants to second it.
You read the sentence, please.
It's just council will identify opportunities for local businesses to participate in processes, including engaging with Maori Pacific and Northern businesses. All I'm doing is adding that word including, rather than making it sound like we're going to them first. I'm moving that as an amendment.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Kitchen.
Second by Joe.
Any comment on that before I put it? I'll put the amendment. All those in favour?
Aye.
Show of hands. 7. All those against? The amendment is carried. So that becomes the substantive amendment, the substantive motion. So this will include the whole document. Great. Okay, so now we've got that amendment. So I'll put that as the substantive motion that with this move can be moved same again, or
It's fine, you just can put the motions.
don't need to further move it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you. No. But I will actually comment on Joe's comment about, I think we should put this through a procurement expert. I just, something for you. I'm not going to ask for an answer, Jono, but just ask that you confirm that we've had procurement experts look at it and bring it back to, I don't know, next audit and risk, is it? Just comment on the next audit and risk.
Happy to respond now if you like, Chair.
Okay.
So in developing this, we've had our own internal procurement experts, including our own internal legal advisor. So we've got an internal legal advisor that supports our internal procurement, and we haven't had an external review of our procurement policy. I'm looking at Chris as I speak, but we have had our legal advisor go over it in detail. Am I correct?
So we're confident.
The legal advice is that our procurement policy is sound.
Thank you. Steve, thank you.
The Chair, just through the procurement policy, the Office of the Auditor General sort of sets the tone for that, and the policies that we have reflect that. So from my own observations, just to support Jono in my procurement.
So we have a large degree of comfort around this. Thank you. Okay, I propose to move on. We've spent a lot of time on this item. Item 7.2, adoption of the statement of proposal for draft user fees and charges. Now, I'll be surprised if there's too many amendments because we've workshopped this almost to death. Option 1 is the preferred option. I'd like to, if everyone's happy, would someone like to move all 3 recommendations? Councillor McDonald? Do you have a seconder? Councillor Blackwell. Discussion, please.
I guess just thank you to the staff. It's always a lot of work pulling these together. And appreciate that it's a process of continual improvement, and we continue to move along that spectrum of trying to get an equitable approach where we move towards more user pays rather than having rate subsidised activities for individuals. So, yeah, just really supportive of the proposal. Thank you.
I'd like to take those comments. I know from the day I started here, one of my missions was to make sure that all consents, fees and charges were user pays and more, and not be subsidised by the ratepayer. And I'm pleased to be able to state with all clear conscience that we're there. We're sure we're not, the ratepayer is not subsidising resource users. And I like what the staff has done, the 2.6% inflationary increase, and where they've removed and added it's transparent and it's fair. Like, for instance, removing the charge of video conferencing facilities, because we're only getting our costs remunerated, returned to us, rather than making a profit out of it. Councillor Carr. You're on mute, Joe.
I'm on. You there?
Oh, yep.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Look, we had a very interesting report from Simon at our Audit and Risk Committee about a growing trend of lateness, if not default on rates, indicating there's something happening in the economic climate of Northland. And this council is making surpluses. We've got surpluses we're running forward at the moment. And I think we've got to be very mindful that this proposed increase in charges is an arbitrary one based on some inflation expectation. And that when we look at our surpluses, can we make the hard decision and actually say we really have to put up these charges? So we really want to think about that. And I'd suggest that we didn't. We're having a zero rates increase, and we should aim to have a zero fees and charges increase. So we're part of the solution, not the problem to the economics of Northland.
Right, this is
to go out and consult.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Joe. The CE's just informed me that this decision is to go out and if passed, is to go out and consult, not to actually change them right now.
I'm aware of that. Yeah.
So, just like, possibly, John, if you'd like to comment on Councillor Carr's comment that we're basing it on a supposed 2.6% inflationary increase. I think that inflation is pretty well bedded in. I mean, didn't one like to, can we comment on that?
I'm sure Simon can comment more than I can, but we use Burrell to provide us like most councils do across the country, to provide us the guidance on what our inflationary adjustment should be. If we veer away from that, I don't have any basis to assess and come up with our own different inflationary adjustment. I'd also note that our user fees and charges that we've got here is part of the mix that council we're looking at as part of your annual plan, 0% next year. So part of that modelling includes what you've got in here, just so you're aware of the linkages between what increases in user fees and charges are linked to your annual plan. My last comment is we're not looking for a council decision here. There's still an opportunity. If you don't agree with what's in here, you'll get feedback through the submission process. And if, for example, there's feedback on the inflationary adjustment or any of the proposed charges, then you'll get feedback on that, and your decision making is in May, Kyla, May later on this year, when you'll actually have your decision as to whether you proceed with these proposals or not.
Thank you, John. Councillor Blackwell.
Yeah, target rates, great things as the user pays. The problem with governors here, we've got to know whether we're efficient at doing this, are we compared with other councils. But I'd like to draw your attention to page 47.3.7 water takes, and I see big increases there, a little bit over your 2.5%. You're talking about the paper records going from $90 to $200. It seems a big jump. And then electronic from $60 to $100. What's that all about? Recovering costs. You've been undercharging.
Correct.
Well, that seems a big fee, though.
Sorry?
It seems like a big cost for just recording.
Yeah. So just in response to that, we did quite a bit of analysis in that regard, and we realised that a lot of effort is involved in actually chasing up the hard copy stuff.
Yeah.
And we are trying to promote electronic transactions as well, but it's really, the fact it's a very manual process chasing up hard copy, and that's reflected in the increased charge.
But electronic went from $60 to $100, so
Still,
it's half the price. So
we haven't looked at this for some time, but we've done a deeper dive analysis of the costs.
Oh, and how many times would that apply? That wouldn't be a big number, would it?
Top of my head,
10, 100, 1,000?
Well, just in hundreds, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can provide a more detailed.
Would you like to see that, John?
No, I'm not too worried about the number. It's just the jump in the fees, and you've been undercharging. I guess it seems a lot. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Councillor Crawford, then Councillor Hunt.
So the paper copy only needs to be kept for 6 months. Is that correct? So you need a like if you're getting a water right or something like that, you keep the data.
We keep it permanently.
Okay, but isn't there a system that if you record your data for so long, that gives you a reference point that you don't keep recording it?
No, but you can change from time to time.
Okay.
So particularly with irrigation, the dry season,
Mhm.
that's when you irrigate. In the wet season, you don't irrigate.
Okay, so calcium, like for example, you wanted to measure the calcium use. Water take. You need a water meter on it?
On certain volumes.
Yes. Okay, so the understanding that I had is that you have to keep the water take records for 6 months. If you keep it accurate for 6 months, then that becomes a reference point. Is that correct?
In terms of the initial baseline,
Yes.
yeah, but what I'm trying to explain is that over time, have variations in water takes.
Okay.
If I'm wondering,
No, that's fine. I just didn't know yet.
this is to charge.
Well, I like and Colin can tell me other. If you keep a certain amount of records for certain times, that becomes a baseline, right? And as long as you have a meter that keeps working, you don't have to keep. If it's not an electronic one that keeps going in, you do have a record of something. And I was of the understanding you didn't need to keep submitting those records. I could be wrong, but this is what my understanding has been.
So I think
it's
there's
just
probably a
confirmed.
little bit disconnect in terms of when you set a baseline.
Suggest we take this offline. No, that you talk about that because we're talking about the actual charge themselves. Councillor Hunt?
So just for clarification, the 2.6% CPI adjustment refers to the user fees and sundry proportion of our revenue. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that year to date, we're sitting at 5.4 million. Budget was 4.5, so there's a good healthy variance there, Colin, of about 18%. But I guess the 2.6%, if you apply it to the 5.4 million, or what is it, 5.9 per annum, is 120,000, 130,000. So it's not a material sum of money. But to your point, Joe, it's the 0% rate increase is far more material. So yeah, it's.
Okay, any other questions on the proposed changes? We have workshop this. If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Contrary? Carried. Thank you. Right.
Page 92.
92. 92. We're working my way to it. Thank you. Yeah. Item 7.3, simplifying local government draft proposal NRC submission. I'd like to point out that we have workshopped this virtually within an inch of its death. And I'll start with calling for a nomination for a mover and a seconder. All four recommendations. Councillor McDonald, do we have a seconder? I'm happy to second it. Discussion.
So again, acknowledgements to the staff for creating quality content on a pretty tight turnaround. I think what was really robust in our workshop was we have tried to strike the balance between presenting what we know to be important from a Northland perspective in a way that is constructive to government and acknowledging the need for change, but also sharing our information and knowledge from our regional perspective into the national program to hopefully improve it. So I know we talked quite a lot about the tone of the submission, and I think where it sits probably represents the middle ground of the spectrum and at the table. So well done. If we're all slightly unhappy, it's probably about right. Yeah, and so I just want to acknowledge the work that's gone into kind of finding the balance needed for this and the opportunity that it presents for Northland to show leadership and hopefully be kind of leading the charge on how we move forward with the changes that are being proposed. So yeah, very happy to support all four recommendations. Thank you.
I'd like to add a little bit with reference to the discussions that Chair Tiffany and I had with the Minister Watts at Waitangi the night before Waitangi Day. It was really illuminating, and in fact, it was very, very positive. When we pointed out that we have already begun discussions about forming a new entity, probably a unitary authority for Northland, the Minister was impressed. And he also, when we asked him questions about, well, what do you think function should remain and that kind of thing, and other kind of parameters, he said, the only thing he said was, well, Auckland's out of scope. Auckland, the government decided that Auckland's not going to be touched, which we assume to mean the boundaries as well as the functions. But he said, you should take advantage of this great opportunity to build yourself for your own future. And I was incredibly impressed with that. And I said, well, what about functionality about biosecurity? Because we spend like $12 million worth of rates on it every year or similar figure. And he said, well, the government isn't going to be willing to pick that up. And I said, marine functions and maritime. He said, well, we probably won't be going there, but we haven't made decisions. But he said, you have this wonderful opportunity now to build your own future. So he said, but you've got to move fast, because that was his private advice to us, to get in there and start doing it, get ahead of the game, because the government basically wants reform. They haven't actually decided what form it will take, except that they want amalgamations. And they probably want unitaries. Obviously, they want unitaries because they want regional councils gone. So our opportunity now is to design our own form of unitary council. Councillor Tiffany and then Councillor Blackwell.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be voting in favour of the what is now motions, and from memory at the workshop, I think it was Councillor Hunt who said up front we needed to be a lot more positive, and it would appear that the words reflect that, which I'm pleased about. My only small point is that we spell Northland with a capital N under number 4 on page 96.
Councillor Blackwell.
Yeah, have a nice bit late piece, but page 97, you're talking about meeting expectations that rate rises will be between 2 and 4%. If you're running a business, that's a really tight line to put in there. I know they want us to keep it down below 4, but yeah, maybe you should put 0 to 4. But yeah, I think that'll come to bite us in the future, because we don't know what's going to blow out. I know with farming we can have huge inflation figures, but I mean, it looks nice.
Just to clarify, that we're not advocating for that necessarily. That's just saying that the combined territorial boards will be expected to fill a range of complex and challenging functions, including, and so that's basically just a statement of what the Crown is saying is likely going to be the case. It's not NRC saying it.
Okay. Well, I think the important thing is the recommendations in part 10, isn't it? And I think that's the most important thing that we need to be united on. Are we united in this? I think it's an inspiring solution suggested by Jono and the staff, that we make a pledge to government that if you leave the council and going in its present form, we'll deliver a whole lot faster than CTBs can, and using also the backup evidence that the mayors don't want to make that decision themselves anyway. So I think we're offering government a way out that'll give them what they want and give it to them a year earlier. This means that we've got to work harder, that's all. Anyway, any other comments? If not, I'll put John.
Yeah, no, look, I think this is a material improvement on the original, and I appreciate the work put in by the staff. I really like clause number 5, basically talking about we support the reform, reduce duplication, improve service delivery and efficiency, and that's very much in alignment with I think our vision statement that we've drafted. So
okay,
I appreciate it.
No more comment. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you, everybody. This is quite a big, important move, and I'd really like to thank the staff and Jono for the inspired way this was put together. I think it's really well worded. Thank you. Item 7.4, Ratepayer Assistance Scheme. Now, we have workshopped this, but I don't know if every councillor was there. Right. I'll start with, do we have a mover and seconder? And do they want to move all 5? John Hunt?
Move it.
No, seconded.
I'll second.
Councillor Kitchen, all five? Right, discussion, please. John, for start, you moved it. Would you like to discuss?
Look, I think this, I really like this initiative. I think we talked a little bit about the pressure that households are under, and the devil's in the detail. I think it's a matter of how big the scheme becomes. We can't replace reverse mortgages, although we don't like it. We can. I'm not even sure we can put pressure on reverse mortgage rates, but I felt this was quite an innovative solution to help households at the moment. So I thought it was a refreshing initiative.
Councillor Kitchen.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments, and yeah, I'm very impressed when we did have that presentation. I was a bit weary initially where's this going and coming, but yeah, so I'll echo the sentiments here.
Yeah. Any other comments? Amy.
Just a question. So we received this opportunity as a regional council, and one of the things we talked about was the need for it to be a all of Northland concept before we would actually proceed, and so we're just giving sort of in principle support. But do we have clarity about where to from here in terms of talking about it with the other councils? Did we? I know we talked about that in the workshop, but did we have an action point coming out of that?
They were going to present to Far North, were they? Or
no,
they weren't.
No, have the answer for us.
But we've got resolution 3 there. That's a placeholder of it's in principle, but we want to be. We acknowledge we need to be working with all of 3 of our district councils.
Yeah.
My intention following this, if you passed it, was to provide this agenda paper to the respective district council CEOs, so that they're aware of it. I know that they've had some exposure to it. But Hugo and Scott, who came and presented to us, basically said within their tight time constraints, they're not able to engage with everybody of local government. If it gets over this next hurdle, which is in March with central government, if it gets support from the Minister of Local Government, then they'll be going out and trying to engage more broadly with the local government sector, and that's where we'd be able to partner with them to engage with our district councils to see if this is something that, as a region, we would collectively support.
Do we know what the threshold is in terms of the population? Because they said they're at about 50% of the population already, didn't they?
They did. That's because they've just targeted some of the really big players.
Christchurch,
Wellington.
Do we know what threshold that they feel they need to get to is?
They don't have a specific threshold, but the minister clearly told them that the threshold they had got to previously wasn't enough. Hence why, like the reason they came to us is because they came to us previously and we had a relationship with Hugo, and Hugo the drivers of it. So hence why they're trying to get a bit of a cross-section across the council of both unitaries, regionals and districts, so that they can demonstrate to the minister to go to the next trigger. There's a broader church of local authorities that would, in principle, look to support this scheme.
Just bear in mind that what we've been asked to is option 1 approval in principle support for the RAS, including support to become a member, subject to financial requirements, and discussion with district council. So it's an indication of interest, and that's all it is. John.
Yeah, I'm in support. It's not a debt on this council. This debt stays with the property, which will probably save them possibly 2% or maybe greater. So yeah, it's a win. So if we do support it, we're going the right direction, but we're not guaranteeing we're going to be in it.
Correct. It's a good thumb in the nose of the major trading banks. Actually, it's about what it is. A good old socialistic movement by the mixture of councils and government. So I can't see any downside. There's no further discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Next one, life jackets. Are we up to 7.5? Life jackets for children and young persons bill. I expect there to be some discussion on this. Do we have a mover?
Also move, Kitchen.
Second, Blackwell. 2 gentlemen that know quite a bit about this subject. Okay, discussion. That's for, sorry, both recommendations. And we're talking basically accepting the report and retrospectively approving the submission. So it is retrospective. This should be procedural, and we shouldn't have to discuss too much. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Thinking now of ex-councillor Stolwork, who was very passionate supporter of this. Anyway, CEO performance review process. Item 7.6. We have 3 recommendations. Now, in COT this morning, we had a discussion about amending part 2.
Shall I check with Chris? But if I move all 3, can I move it with an amendment?
Yep, nothing's on the table.
So can I move all 3, but add an amendment to recommendation number 2? So it says endorse the chair, deputy chair, and councillor Hunt to oversee the CEO performance agreement and remuneration review.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Blackwell. Discussion.
We've done that.
Yeah, so we're very comfortable that we've got a good process in place, and we're happy that these are the right people to run the process. So thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Everyone's comfortable what the motion says? Put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you, everybody. Item 8.1, Health and Safety Quarterly Report. One recommendation that we accept the report. Do we have a mover?
Yeah, happy to move it.
Councillor Blackwell, I'm happy to second it. Any discussion? I'd like to thank the staff for a very comprehensive report, and the trends are all good. I read them.
Just vehicles seem to be the top one.
Yeah.
Speeding. I suppose it's.
I've just got a question.
Amy.
I don't know if it really sits here, but it's sort of related. Donna, do you have an update on when the lift repair will be completed?
It's our mental health and safety.
Kia ora, we're supposed to have it finished early to mid-March. My understanding is that they're still on track. I haven't been advised that they're not, but I will find out for councillors.
Yeah, it's on track.
It's on track. I'll see if I can find out a more specific date rather than early to mid-March and let you all know. But yeah, we're on track.
Because I'm concerned for the mental health and safety of the staff that have to put up with councillors walking through their workspaces every time.
That's why we haven't seen Bruce.
I can't get up the stairs.
Pick the right time. How was Bruce getting on anyway? All right.
I've been in text communication, and from what I've heard, his recovery is going well.
Fantastic. Right. Any other comments on this report? Just one. John.
Yeah, on that page 125, we've got that graph that includes the 3 years. And when you look at the colours there, the green is 25 to 26. We haven't got through 26, have we?
To date, probably.
But it's stretching out it's gone a long way across, isn't it? All those cases, particularly office environment. Vehicle speeding is probably on par. But yeah.
So are they prorated, or is it you're comparing 6 months with 12 months here?
It's 6 months with 12 months, as in it's the green line is year to date. If I can, Chair, maybe just provide some commentary on the office environment. As you're aware, we've gone through and are still going through quite a process of modernising and changing our workspace. So it's not just modernising our workspace, it's actually a total new way of working for our organisation and for our staff, where we're moving from all staff members having their own desk to going where actually we were very crammed in. We wanted to provide some more modern working environment, but in doing so, we've moved to a flexible seating arrangement where you don't have your own seat. So there has been a big change process that's involved in that. It also means that because your desk isn't set up exactly like you like it every day, because you come in and potentially have a different seat each day, that we are having to work through some feedback from individuals and groups to make sure that we can still deliver a quality seating and workstation for those staff. So I would think that is a pretty normal response from staff surveys around our office environment as we go through this change process.
Okay, I have one question on page 126, the health and safety strategy and implementation, a bit about contract management, lifting competency, 10% not on track. Can we have some comment on that?
There's no one there. I've asked the same question, Chair. I don't have the answer to hand right now, unless you do, Carol.
Possibly a part through Chair, possibly a part answer to that. What I'm aware of is we've had limited capacity in that space, particularly in the health and safety. We've been down a resource, so that has affected our ability to put effort into the contractor space. We've got somebody starting in April, I believe, in the future, so that will be one of their key work focuses once that person's.
I'm worried about the wider risks here. Has that been identified in the audit and risk agenda?
I don't think the specific in-house training has been reported there. I'm happy to take an action, Chair, to provide a response to councillors on where we're at with that and what our next steps are to make sure that we're back on track.
Everyone happy with that? John.
The next page, 127, you talk about 2 firearm reports were received this quarter, but no staff were in danger. What's that about?
Are you able to respond to that, Carol or Don?
Don's probably got the detailed.
Kia ora. Yes. I was certainly interested in that stat as well, because we've got a number of contractors out there working with things, but these are, I would class them as very minor incidents where you perhaps got a firearm and a license has expired, or similar fact where perhaps a firearm might be, just exposed with a car, or one of the incidents was where a person actually saw another person on a piece of land with a firearm and decided not to go on. So
Okay, so I think we really owed some detail about what they actually mean. So the 2 firearm reports, and one was a staff member unwilling to go onto a property because the person on the property had a firearm. Okay, what was the other one? I think we need to know this.
I understand there was a license, but I'd have to check on that and get the detail from.
Can you please and report back? Thank you.
I'm happy to take the action myself and make sure that I report back on the specifics of what those 2 incidents were.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John. Any more on this report? Thank you. If not, I'll put the report. All those in favour? Aye. Contrary? Carried. Item 8.2, CE's report. I see this, it's out of sync with the chair's report this month. I don't quite know why, but we don't mind. Normally we have the chair's report first, but that's quite all right. Okay, do we have a mover for the single recommendation that we accept the CE's report to council?
Also,
Kitchen, seconded, Tiffany.
Yep.
Right, comment, please. Any more?
Have we got an update on the Helena Bay slip in terms of when that's going to be?
Kia ora, Chair. Louisa, I'm not sure if you've got any update on that. My only update is what you probably already know, that it was going to take about 12 weeks to fix, and they were talking at a cost of around $6 million. I don't have any specific details on that, but I'm happy to go away and find out if councillors would like specifics on it.
I worry about our exposure. We're not exposed financially to any of this, are we?
Not for that.
No. I also worry about that site. It's the 3rd major slip in the last 30 years, and I don't know how long they'll be able to keep repairing that road and propping it up without a major realignment. It's not a happy situation, that one, Helena Bay Hill. I'm sorry, I just neglected to ask a question in the last report item, and I will ask it now. Do we have any plans to provide more training for staff regarding using cameras when they meet aggressive people? Like, sometimes I know that if you have a problem with an aggressive person, if you take your phone out and go to, sometimes that, and say, well, I need to record this, that can have a good effect, and often it has the opposite effect. Do we train our staff around that, or is there any plan to have body cameras or anything like that? Oriel?
Customer services team been looking over the health and safety because they're dealing mainly when people come in the front. And there was talk about using cameras or having cameras available to try and work that through. It's quite a complicated process. So I know they've been thinking about it as a bit of a pilot so that if our staff are feeling uncomfortable at all, they can turn the camera on so that it can, but they haven't gone any further about it. So we've been working at what options that could look like.
Fantastic. Colin?
Other parts of the organisation already currently use body cameras as well. So
we are fully implemented, are they? Body
not
cameras?
fully. Well, it's an option for customers in my team, the compliance staff to go out in the field. They've got the option of taking body camera with them. And from memory, we looked at various guidelines around the country about the use. So,
I think we do need to front foot it because I think the health and safety regulations, I mean, quite apart from the moral aspects, the law says that everyone in the chain of command is responsible for health and safety. And I'm not sure if that ends with John or ends with councillors, but I think if council made a decision not to implement safety measures that would have saved somebody's life, then we probably would be in the gun, actually. So, but I think we have an ethical and moral obligation to provide the best possible environment for our staff, safest possible environment. So I think we need to front foot every measure we can. Jono.
Yeah, kia ora, Chair. We do have the abilities for staff to use a body cam if they think the circumstances requires it. We've got a policy around it. And I wonder if just we have the action in our next health and safety report to council, we just provide a quick summary of what that situation is.
Thank you very much. Okay, back to the CE's report. I'm sorry for that diversion.
Yes.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah, I just go to the report civil defence emergency management, and just as chairperson of CDM, Louise, I just like to publicly thank you, your staff and people out in the community for what they've done over that period and continue to do. And there's a few little learnings we can make, but I'm very proud of what they've done. And I go back to groups like there was not in this report, but between State Highway 10 right round Wainui Bay to Whangaroa, there was slips, and the group there, led by Nye Manuel, and I think Kelly was involved, and that local iwi hapu, and that they really, they didn't wait for things to happen. They got on, they had a phone tree going, calling, they were clearing the road, doing the mihi out there, and they weren't ringing up emergency services and putting pressure on people. So it showed how those community response plans and that do work. So big shout out to you guys. Kia ora. Thank you.
Oriel.
Yeah, kia ora, taupo for Councillor Kitchen. Also, just we've got a kaitiaki tomorrow coming in to just talk to some of the work they did. Carla from Ngāti Whai, from one of the local marae, supported by Ken. So they'll be there to present some of the work that they did specifically in their marae. So I agree, Louise and the team were amazing. And so it would be good tomorrow as part of Te Ruarangi for the kaitiaki to share their experience as well too. Kia ora, Councillor.
Thank you.
I'd like to comment on the really pleasing result in compliance monitoring. Only 0.6% of significant non-compliance. So I'd like to thank the staff for their work in that area. That's a pretty good result. I guess the municipal wastewater treatment plant stuff is always a train wreck every single month. And we don't appear to be any further ahead in actually resolving these issues, are we? I mean, I guess we're relying on three waters to solve all our problems here, are we? Yeah, it's like McDonald.
We're just flying on from that. Do we have an update on the transition work that is happening and how NRC and our compliance and our understanding of the issues with the wastewater treatment plants? Like, I know you were engaged quite a bit, Colin, in the early stages. Are we still, I know the districts are really moving forward now with that. Are we still providing information as that new entity is getting established?
Kia ora, Chair, if I can quickly respond, and if I'm missing anything, Colin will quickly fill the gaps. Yes, we're still providing a lot of information into that process so that there, and to be fair, actually, I think Colin and his team have had more information around some of the state of the assets.
Yeah.
So it's been really useful being able to provide that input into it. We've actually also got Andrew Carvell, who is the interim CEO for the new Three Waters entity, who is scheduled to come and workshop with
Two Waters.
Two Waters, sorry, and that workshop is
Still trying to
4th of March. So 4th of March, you'll be able to ask the interim CE as many questions as you like. Yeah, my understanding is they're making good progress.
And Chris has just informed me it's called Local Waters Done Well, and there'll be an update on the 4th of March. So I guess all councillors would be okay to turn up to that, would they?
Yeah, it's a council workshop.
Oh, it's our
Yeah,
council.
to speak to us.
Yes, you can.
Okay, cool. So first up, I just want to acknowledge all the amazing fieldwork that's been happening over summer. There's heaps in the reports, all really interesting, and whenever our staff are doing work in the field or working at events, we know that it's actually, really long hours and takes a lot of effort. So acknowledgement to all the good work happening out there and the people making it happen. In terms of the civil defence, I follow tautoko what Ross has already raised. Question I have for Jono. Question I have for you, Jono, is whether or not there's a plan for us to, at some point, and it might be too soon yet, but to go through a process of learning. And maybe this will happen through the Civil Defence Committee, but I guess I'm interested as a councillor at this table, just how we can ensure that the learnings we've had are shared amongst our community civil defence volunteer network, so that, for example, how Whangaruru has responded, and because it's very local, the response, how do we ensure that that is shared with our other coastal communities? I've got people asking me, how do we make sure we're prepared that if we found ourselves in that same situation, cut off and isolated? So I guess just wondering what the process is around getting a briefing, whether it all goes through civil defence or it will come to full council as well.
I might pass over to Louisa, who I'm sure will be able to respond to that.
Kia ora, through the chair. So at the moment, the process is that we're seeking feedback from external stakeholders and communities. That is, and then we'll also do an internal process. Both the report and the lessons identified will go to the coordinating executive group for civil defence with an implementation plan, and then that will go forward to the joint committee as well. I have taken an action. I'm just hearing what you're saying. At the moment, I don't think that we've got a process yet about how we feed those back to other communities. So I'll go back and take an action for that to look at how we build that into the process. So maybe once the review has been endorsed by the CDEM Joint Committee, we can summarise and provide a way of getting it out to communities. And our emergency management specialists will be able to do that through the district councils and also through their community visits that they do.
Yeah. Cool, that sounds good. Like, great to have our system sorted, but make sure at the grassroots everyone's connected as well.
I just wanted to add too that Wananga Waiora, the Kaitiaki response as well. There's a huge network there as well too. So we're talking Wananga Waiora, that opportunity there for the Kaitiaki to be able to share their experiences through that network will be showcasing and really important because of the event Hapu response there at that opportunity. But it's the building up right now. Those networks are talking to each other, being able to share about what they've learned, because the recovery for those kaitiaki is still happening. So they've been able to feed back into the broader system is important for those kaitiaki networks. So that's a proposal we're putting through for that combination of representation to Marateruarangi for a 3-day opportunity, is connecting those types of dots across councils, across the existing systems around civil defence emergency, and this kaitiaki grassroots network that's happened on the marae that stood up.
Yeah, that's good.
Before we go any further, I'd just like to acknowledge the work done by the Coast Care Group in the last couple of months. There's some pretty big mahi there, and I got wonderful feedback on the Nungaroo and Bream Bay events, the WDC Vehicles on Beaches advocacy event. So yeah, I don't know when that group ever takes their Christmas holidays. They must do it in the winter time. But so anyway, wonderful work by that team. Any more on the? Sorry, Councillor Morang.
Just on the point that Amy raised, as devastating as it was, I think it was probably the Whangaruru community were probably the best prepared community to deal with the flooding. And that has a lot to do with the marae preparedness that they've undertaken in the last 3 or 4 years. The amount of resource and training they've put in place, the 5 marae out there to help not only have the marae and hapu be prepared, but also open their doors to the wider communities. There was a disconnect around how that on the ground support and local response can be better facilitated at not sure if it's EOC or whatever the civil defence coordinated team is. Don't know the name, sorry. And just how we can get better at lining those up. But to Amy's point, Councillor McDonald's point is they were probably better prepared for that. But what about our other communities who won't be to manage to get through that one pretty okay? But these other communities might be a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, any other matters? Amy.
Lime Burners Creek. Sorry, I've got to find what page. So this is did I write down the page? 144. I think that's you, Colin. So really good. So the heavy metals report has been completed, and really good to see that overall there's been some improvements, and we're talking about this is in the marine environment and the contamination of lead in our marine sediments. And the report has shown that through good management over a long period of time, we've seen a reduction in the amount of lead that is contaminating our marine sediments. However, in the Lime Burners Creek, which flows into the Hatia River, so that's into our harbour here in Whangarei, there is an increase in the metal concentrations. And so I guess my question is, I had a little look and it looks like the wastewater treatment plant flows into that creek. I guess I'm just wondering, so with that information, do we then look to understand what's causing that increase and then try to understand whether there's an environmental regulation responsibility for us? Where to from here in terms of that finding is my question.
That's the,
sorry, I should have taken one through in advance.
Ruben looks after the state environment monitoring, so I'll let Ruben ask that question.
You can come back to me if you need to.
No, it's a really good point, Councillor. We've actually picked up ongoing challenges with water quality in Lime Burners Creek. We have assumed that it is in part linked to the wastewater treatment plant discharge, and it is something that that needs to be considered as part of the renewal of that wastewater treatment plant. But at the same time, part of the exercises that we need to start focusing on as a monitoring unit is creating those connections between identifying a problem and working through a solution. We've been really good at the monitoring mihi, but our focus has historically been very heavily skewed towards monitoring. And we're actually bringing a paper to the Natural Resources Working Party around presenting a work program to revisit and review how we focus our efforts in our state of the environment monitoring. So they're actually providing a better balance of considering data and how we use that data to achieve outcomes that reflect the strategic priorities of council. It's a very long-winded way of saying we're working on it, and we recognise that simply identifying a problem is the first step, and we absolutely need to have greater connection around the next steps to fully understand and remediate the issue that's being identified.
I think that, so thank you. And I understand the challenge of it. You know, you need to first of all understand the issue before you can start to try and manage it. But I think this sort of information is going to be so important as we move through the change in the water entity and also in local government. These are the kind of things that will fall through the cracks if we're not really sound in terms of what interventions are needed to prevent that ongoing increase. So just, keen for us to be focused on what actions might be the priority for the next decade in terms of some of the, it's a biggie for us in Northland, and all of the harbours that are listed, they're really important to our communities. So it's on us to make sure we're doing everything we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blackwell.
Just to follow on from that, it talks about page 144, the highest metal concentration. So you talk about Hatia and Kerry, but got Kaipara Harbour, which is rather large. Could you narrow that down a wee bit?
Kia ora, Councillor Blackwell. No. What I can do is we can take an action to provide the detail that you're after. I don't have that level of detail just on the top of my head.
On the next page, John, there's a link to the report, but you'd have to then probably do a word search or something for Kaipara.
We've got the those fish, zombie fish. Everyone's sort of pointing the finger at aluminium and anything that actually comes up, but we've got no idea what it's about. So, anyway, you don't talk about aluminium, you talk about, I was thinking about the lead on all the houses too, in Hatia River. That would have an impact early on, but that must be coming to an end. But you must have a hunch of where the problems are.
So
sewage.
Yeah, so as the report points out, leaders going down. We have to remember this is monitoring the sediments. So what you tend to see is things like heavy metals will accumulate over time, and as you cut down on the sources of those sediments, you'll see a gradual decrease over, potentially multi-decadal, because you've got cut down on lead-based paints, cut down on lead on fuels and that sort of thing. And then you will eventually see a gradual decrease in sediments. So what the report is reflecting is how that accumulation rate has shifted in light of the interventions, that are national interventions, international interventions actually around lead. You also see the same around anti-fouling. So anti-fouling's changed over time, and so you start to see a gradual decrease around marinas. But so the quick answer is this is based on sediments, and sediments are something that inherently require long-term monitoring to look at long-term trends.
There was an old car yard at Tihana, wrecking yard, right beside that. That goes straight into the Kaipara, and I sort of always wondered whether that was the source. That might have been, would have been the source. I think it's gone now, but that's the sort of thing. Yeah, it's the sort of thing you word, isn't it?
Councillor.
Not a car yard; it was a scrap metal yard. But those things right by the river's not a great.
Absolutely. So that's why those sorts of sites are flagged as contaminated sites, and they can be an ongoing source of contamination for years.
Yeah, because that's Auckland Council, but it's going to the same river. Thank you.
Colin, perhaps you'd like to comment on the first part of John's question about the Kaipara. I know this was raised a year or two back, and you were asked about what the point source of contamination was. I think it was aluminium, but it might have been lead as well. And it pointed towards Dargaville, but there was a decrease. Can you able to comment?
So, and again, Ruben's science team did a quite comprehensive summary of our investigation, and the source of aluminium is, in our assessment, as naturals within the catchments, and might have some influence in terms of exposed earth, in terms of practices, but it's predominantly due to the geology and rain.
Very interesting, isn't it? So it's actually a soil-based thing, not a human contamination. Well,
there might be a component of human contamination that may have a low share of exposed soil that's naturally high.
Any other things? I've got one little item I'd like to raise. I'll do it. Look, I just really, because they're both included in here, I'd really like to congratulate Councillor Crawford for being elected chair of JRED. And I think that reflects his own personal attributes rather than the fact that he's representing this council, because I know that was, there was a lot of other interest in that position. And also similarly congratulate Councillor Colin Kitchen for being elected chair of CDEM. And both of those are reflections of the individual capacity and experience and abilities rather than the fact that they're representing this council. So I'd just like to pass on my congratulations to both those two gentlemen.
Yeah.
Any other matters from the city's report? If not, I'll put it. All those in favour? Aye. Contrary? Yeah. Thank you. 8.3 quarterly report, people and culture. Single recommendation. Do I have a mover? I'll move it. Second.
Yeah, happy to second it.
John Blackwell. Any comment? Well, I'd just say it's nice that we get more fulsome reporting than we ever used to. It's good to have and gives me a lot of comfort. John.
Just a quick question, Chair. Obviously, the annual leave entitlement cost is a significant liability on the balance sheet at the end of the financial year. Do you know where are we tracking relative to budget on that number?
John.
Simon's left here, unfortunately. I'm happy to come back to you as to how we're tracking to budget.
And that would be useful to see how we were tracking relative to budget.
Happy to come back to you on that.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you.
I think there's some data in there that says it's tracking down. I have a look at this.
But it was only tracking down
because of Christmas.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, good question. So you'll come back in a future report?
Yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
just email out to councillors if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just relative to budget and what our end of the year expectations are for that number.
Any other comments or questions? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. 8.4 Chair's report. Peter will move.
Yes.
Who wants to second that? Anybody?
I'd like to second.
Councillor Moranga got his finger up first. Thank you. Any comments? Peter.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight a couple of points out of the whole report, probably towards the end of the report, page 170 and 171, in regard to the storm damage at Ngāti Wai. You can see the photos, they explain themselves. I think it's a comment made by Dion Swiggs, if you don't know, as chair of Canterbury Environment Canterbury and also chair of the National Regional Council. He said, I can't believe how much availability you have in Northland to both the Prime Minister and ministers of the Cabinet. He said, we don't get that sort of engagement where we are. And so in terms of Waitangi Day in particular, and in terms of the storm at Ngāti Wai, I really want to thank the staff and the team in general who have been really going beyond the call of duty to ensure that we're as organised, we're serving the people who have put us in these positions. And I named them, at least some of them, notwithstanding the councillors who were able to join in where they could. For instance, at the dinner hosted by the Waitangi National Trust and the Global Women's, Jeff was able to join as well. And Jenny Shipley said, amongst a whole lot of things and other speeches, what can you personally contribute towards Te Tiriti o Waitangi? Which was a challenge by her to everyone. But otherwise, I think it's going to be really important that we have, and I know it's in train already, to have a debrief and assess our contribution to Waitangi and the value that we got out of it. If you only have to look at the opening of the new road by Shane Jones and other politicians and our ability to engage with them, but also just going to breakfast and having the Prime Minister or having breakfast, a one-on-one breakfast with the leader of the opposition or talking with the Prime Minister, I think we can do even more than we did this year. And by the way, for the purposes of accountability, I've already said this to councillors, but should anybody else be listening, I did stay at the Copthorne Hotel. It didn't cost the Northland Regional Council a cent. And I do have a credit card now as the chair, and I haven't used it. I like to make these things clear in terms of accountabilities when I'm talking about staying at hotels and having meals with politicians. But the photos speak for themselves, Chair, and if there's any questions, please pose them to me.
Are there any questions? John?
Well, not a question, but a great report. And if a picture's worth 1,000 words, it's a really long report. No, the pictures are really good. Well done. I feel like we're well informed of what you've been up to. Just one thing I'll question is the very last day. When did you start this job, Peter? Was it in year 2024? That Yellow Hornet. It should be 25, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to thank our chair for being so available and being very successful at engaging with ministers and DIA, MV and CEs and whatnot. So it's been extremely useful to this council at this time. Thank you. Any other questions, any other matters? I'll put the report, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you.
Chair, can I just note that I have to get into Parliament now and go through security, so I'm going to have to leave the meeting.
Do you have any questions to rise on the other remaining items? Long-term plan reports, committee minutes?
No, I'm going to have to go, sorry.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck.
Right, 8.5. We have one recommendation. Do we have a mover? We'll read the report. Councillor Mooranga, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Discussion, please. I don't mind kicking it off. I think it's pretty good. I realise that there's always going to be people saying we should change our measures, and that's always they're living documents, and yes, we should adapt our measures, but on the other hand, if you adapt them too much, you can't do any trend monitoring. So I think in the 6 and a bit years I've been here, I feel that we've made a lot of progress in getting the measures more accurately reflecting what the ratepayer pays for, and also the results at the environment that we're here to protect. So I give it a pretty much unqualified tick from my point of view. Are there any other questions? A few things we're not going to achieve, possibly not.
I think from my perspective, there's just really good explanation where we are not on track. And the majority are on track. So yeah, thank you for the report.
In kia ora, Chair, thank you. Also, when we set these criteria and the targets around 100%, there was some discussion at council around 100% doesn't provide for any extenuating circumstances or any, lots of councils will have set a target of 90 or 95%, but council said it wanted to be aspirational. It wanted to, pointing Councillor Hunt, we wanted to be delivering exceptional service, so we stuck with targets of 100%. So some of those ones where we haven't maybe achieved it, I just had a look at one of them before that we haven't achieved. It's at 99.2%. So yes, we haven't achieved 100% and acknowledge that, but it's 0.8 of a percent. So yeah, just acknowledging, really support the target, the aspirational target, well, not the aspirational, going for excellence. But that also means that sometimes we're not going to have hit them all when there are those reasons there.
I think that's fantastic. I think it's great to be aspirational. Colin.
Just on that, picking up from Jono's point, 99.2%, and that's relating to the consents target for percentage of resource consent applications for renewal discharge permit. that's also going to be impacted with the change in legislation because we've now got extension of expiry dates and so forth. So we've got a group of applications that technically will be in limbo for a period of time.
And my limited understanding of human nature would lead me to believe that if you had 99.2, your staff would be trying their utmost to try and get that 100. So there'd be extenuating circumstances in that one for sure. I'd say it's probably 1 or 2 cases that you can't do much about, I would say.
And so just so you're aware, LTP KPI delivery is a focus for us. It's in all of our KPIs. It's in my KPIs. It's in our other GM's one. So we are focused on making sure we're delivering these and priority is given to it.
Some of these results are pretty flash. I mean, the percentage of council's climate resilience fund allocated to North and vulnerable community, and we've got an aspirational goal there of 100%, and we're on track to achieve it. I mean, these are pretty good figures. You know, well, they will be if the on track turns out to be real. Okay. Any other questions on this report? Not, I'll put it. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. Thank you. We are receipt of committee minutes. 9.1. Somebody move.
Kitchen.
Colin Kitchen, second Jeff Crawford. Discussion.
Yes, Chair, I couldn't pull up the RTC minutes.
Are they included or? While we're looking for them, anything, Colin, have you got anything to discuss about CDEMs? Quite a big.
Not really. It was just was initial meeting with the election of chair and deputy chair and just mainly procedural.
Thank you. Gianra Tohi would be Colin and what's there? Arama. Anything to? Oh, we're still looking for the RTC. Anything to comment on?
No, not really. I mean, the only kind of real issue was Tom's plan. That, in my view, was super late because it was December and we're getting into the Christmas period. Yeah. So a lot of the trying to be proactive around the beach goers probably didn't hit the mark. I think everything else was procedural.
So something for Ruben to take away. Are you able to comment or?
Yeah, I can. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so the board has given direction around lifting people's awareness around the importance of protecting the Tianoroa Tohi. And so the team is working hard to provide an overall comms plan to support Tianoroa Tohi's direction. What we're trying to line it up with is so there's sort of what we can deliver across both councils within existing resourcing, which in all frankness is bare minimum because we're not resourced to support comms around that, but it also enables a conversation for the board to have in the lead up to the LTP around supporting the board through funding mechanisms.
No, thank you, Amy.
Moving on from that committee, I was just going to congratulate Jeff on his appointment as chair of JRED. And it was a super short meeting. So did you have a workshop after?
Not really, but we have had a workshop since.
Okay.
So our 3 key priorities is the cycle trial. So we're not focusing on the big government picture because we don't have any sway on them. And in the last term, we actually didn't achieve anything. So I want to focus on Northland centric stuff. So it's the cycle trail finishing from Kaihu to Kaikoai. Okay, not the whole trail, 700 Ks. But in a meeting with Amanda, and she tried to push in the whole thing. But we just want to focus on what's achievable and what we can get success on. Now, there is some groups working away down in John Hunt's area, trying to link up the Waipu, Mangawai, Ruakaka link. Okay, they're not on our list, but we will support them with applications. That's number one. The number two is the Kingfish Farm. We're driving them to unlock the potential, and through Daryl, we're hoping to have a meeting at the Kingfish Farm, a J-Red meeting there. Huge opportunity. It's the old story. We need to, it's ready to go. We
Is it for the expansion?
Yeah, we were, I was working on that last term, but, with the change of government minister from Judith to Jane Reddy, it just died. They're keen to get it going.
There's a lot of season, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's number three. Number two. The third one is to really drive our water storage opportunities in Northland. I've already reached out to the kiwi fruit industry and passed on the major. On my course when I was at the Kellogg's leadership course, there was a guy there, one of the leaders of the kiwi fruit industry. So I've reached out to him, and he's given me 2 or 3 numbers to drive Paul to get them up here for a meeting, see what we need to get things going. Part of the one of the big constraints is we need a super cool store at the port.
Oh,
right. Zestbury's been looking at that, but they're only seasonal, so you need something that brings something else in through a year thing. And I talked to Julian Smith, I think his last name is, who's our director on the North Port. It's off the table at the moment because of the costs, but definitely with the Kingfish opportunity where we can drive manufacturing, we don't want to send everything offshore as a raw product. We want to add jobs. So look at the manufacturing opportunity in Ruakaka. We own the land as Northern Regional Council, so we need to be driving that sort of thing. So those are our 3 main focus that you can judge us on. So,
Jeff, one question. I did read some comment that there's a possibility of expanding into different fish species as well. Is that?
Well, they did hāpuka. Yeah, hāpuka versus the too slow. It takes twice as long, twice the amount of food, and they just didn't have the market for it at this moment. But all those hāpuka are now down at Kelly Tarleton, sitting there, doing their thing, waiting. So when I was working with Andrew, who's the CE down there, when I was taking this information overseas to try and find an investor, these other stuff you can actually do amongst the kingfish. They go around circles on the top.
Yeah.
We just need to find something that can bottom feed, and they were looking at Andrew's been in development of a crayfish opportunity in cages, hang them in, sort of stuff like that. But the big picture would be the government would own the current facility and sell the little SPAC, whatever they call it, to another business, right? So that as a Kiwi, and we've spent all that money developing that. We don't want to just sell it off for the IP. It'd be like a Tegel factory set up where the Tegel have all the eggs, and then they sell them off as things. I believe that's a huge future because we can transport those anywhere, and now that'll be the next working out how they get transported. But we've got the land available, we've got the water there. Potential to do 3,000 tonnes. Now, 3,000 tonnes, you have to have a manufacturing opportunity to take 10 tonne a day.
Yeah.
So you've got to work backwards. We've got to find the market and the manufacturer, tie them into some sort of a financial opportunity so they can't pull out, and then go backwards and then start building it once you get a contract in place. And but Singapore Airlines was an opportunity. So in a kingfish, you have, the fish, imagine, all of it's not high value product. So you've got the sort of back steak, which is the sushi option, which is what the Singapore Airlines are really keen on. And then like the Thailand government that I was talking to, they were big into manufacturing. Tin fish is huge. Well, they go together quite well. That's the sort of investment that we would be looking for.
So I have a question. Have you at this stage discussed Northern Regional Council, or by implication the new entity, involvement as a business partner?
Yeah, well,
we're not going to sell off. Are we going to stay in? What's your recommendation?
Oh, that would be up to our investment committee.
But you've discussed the options?
Yeah. No, some investment comes somewhere. Hence, we could pull money out of our private equity overseas and put it into our own private equity here. We have got the funds to do that. We could do a joint ownership model with the local iwi down there, get them involved, get some manufacturing, give them jobs, all that stuff. It's a huge positive.
So this is going to be a priority for J-Red, looking at those different ownership
All of
options. Thank you.
So we just want to focus on 3 things. So it won't be near the road, it won't be near power or wind farms or anything like that.
Or local.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff. That's a good report. Now, sorry, you got a question, Colin?
No, good work, I said.
Oh, thank you. Now, Joe's question about RTC.
Yeah, so that report is obviously corrupt because the attachments don't even line up with the order of the attachments. And I just reiterate the point, if councillors have questions or they find something's incorrect in the council agenda, really good if you can flag it to us beforehand so we can give you the information you need. So we will have to put those minutes to the next month.
Okay. Right, so we've reached the end of, I haven't moved.
Councillor Kitchen moved, Councillor Crawford seconded.
I'll put the motion. Oh, sorry, Jono?
You just have to make an amendment though to remove the RTC minutes.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
The
I'll
motion.
secretarial note and amend those.
Okay.
Is that all we need?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Contrary? Carried. Thank you for raising that, Joe. Right, business with the public.